But some other stuff that's coming by pretty soon. People are clamoring for more Mandalorian
They're calling for more mom.
today.
What? Wait, mama? What do you?
Man.
Ma-
Now I'm singing the Amanda theme song.
Man,
Nick Nickelodeon. Anyway,
Mandalorian. It works.
so yes, Mandalorian's coming back, and there's been some hot news in regards to some of the casting choices they made for season 2.
Yeah. Now, did you watch Mandalorian season 1 at all?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay.
One of the few things I
Because
actually did watch.
yeah. Well, I'd say you're probably more the Star Wars fan than I am, so that's why I wanted to make sure of that.
I'm not a giant fan. I actually thought you were a big fan because you were the one who was suggesting this topic for today.
I am a casual fan at best. I've watched all the movies. I've watched Mandalorian. I've watched some of Clone Wars. I've watched some of Rebels. Never got into Resistance itself.
I will say this. This is how big of a Star Wars fan I am. It was Star Wars Day not too long ago.
May the 4th, yes.
And then I saw a whole bunch of people post up pictures of them with lightsabers, and that's when I went, oh, yeah, I own a lightsaber. And Ming from Comic Book Men saw my post and mentioned how I forgot I had this thing. And it's like, how do you forget you have a lightsaber? That's how big of a fan of Star Wars I am. Like,
yeah, see, the only lightsaber,
remember?
Yeah, the only lightsaber I ever had was the double-edged Darth Maul one from Episode 1.
One of the plastic ones.
I think I threw that out.
Yeah, you would throw away a I had I worked at a Halloween store as a kid when Clone Wars came out, so I had one of the cheap ass plastic ones that everyone was buying for their costumes. But when we were talking about another episode, maybe I brought this up, the game room in Woodbridge Mall in New Jersey.
Yes.
I had a friend who worked there, and he gave me a discount on one of the Master Replica collection ones. So I got one of those beautiful ones that you like see everyone online with that looks like a real lightsaber and lights up and makes the noises and stuff.
Well, yeah, so by default, that makes you the more hardcore Star Wars nerd.
Yes, because I got a discount and I thought it looked cool.
Yes.
And I totally forget I own it until someone brings it up.
Well, yeah, you probably won't remember it until the next holiday, I'm sure.
Yeah. I was going to say, I also found out, like, I don't know if they're still worth the amount of money, but when the new Star Wars came out, I found out, like, they rose 4 times in value. So, by the way, if you have one of these and you want to sell it on eBay, you might make a good penny for it right now. Maybe.
Yes, sell away your childhood hopes and dreams of ever becoming a Jedi in order to pay your rent in this pandemic.
Trust me, it's not going to happen. You might as well just take the money.
1,000 lives across the universe snuffed out.
I actually, we're in the New Jersey filmmaking community. I'm not going to mention the person by name, but apparently one of our colleagues recently watched Star Wars: A New Hope for the first time, and she didn't like it.
Ooh,
it's like it wasn't good. It's like, and then a whole bunch of nerds cried out in agony and were finally silenced.
Yeah, there's some younglings out there that probably got killed just from her saying that.
We're getting away from Mandalorian. We should probably
okay.
Mandalorian.
Yes, so let's go into the other aspect of Star Wars that has nothing to do with Jedis.
Yes, strangely.
Well, I mean, there probably was the little bit of tease at the end when you had Giancarlo Esposito's character with the Darksaber.
Yeah, but that's not a Jedi. That's a Sith. Okay, maybe I know a little bit about Star Wars.
Ha 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 ha! Gotcha. But yeah, so they're really going a little bit more balls to the wall with some of the stuff that they're doing in the second movie, the second season, I should say. And a lot of it has come in the regards of the characters that they're going to be introducing. Now, obviously, for those of you who haven't watched, we may be a little spoilery with what happened in season 1. But as everyone knows, season 1, they had to face off against some it wasn't First Order yet. It was still Empire. And they wanted the child, Baby Yoda, they were able to get away relatively scot-free, but now they're on the run from the Empire. They have an idea about where they can go ahead and, I guess, find Baby Yoda's origin, find his people. So there may be a lot more Baby Yodas in the future. And the casting that we have for this has blown up to the extravagant point that you're now incorporating not just original characters, but you're bringing in characters from other lore of Star Wars. Some of it, most notably, you've got Bo-Katan, who was a staple in the animated series, is now going to have her first live action, counterpart in the form of Katie Sackhoff, who is the same actress who has been voicing Bo-Katan this whole time. Now, that's a dream for any actor or actress to actually go ahead and be the main person of a character, I'd say, from animated to voice, from voice acting to live action in a franchise like this.
I don't think I've actually known of anyone who's ever been able to make that transition before, from being a voice actor of a character to being the live action version of it.
There's maybe one or two examples, but nothing in something like Star Wars. Never anything that's huge. I think the only counterpart that even comes close would probably be Sergeant Slaughter in G.I. Joe.
I don't think he counts. I think he was Sergeant Slaughter way before he was G.I. Joe. The only one I can think of is, oh man, so many people are going to piss at me because I think I'm getting his name wrong. Rob Conway recently, where he played Batman. No, I'm definitely name wrong. Who's the voice actor for Batman the Animated Series?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because he did the live action on the CW verse.
Yes, and it was a very, very poor version of that, but he did technically play Batman in a live action role. But again, that's the only time I ever remember that.
Yeah, but that's not like his Batman. That was just a Batman, and it's Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, Kevin Conroy. Why am I saying Rob Conway? Isn't I think that's a pro wrestler. Never mind.
As long as you didn't say Tim Conway, yes, because I mean, I
don't
don't
worry.
think
When I was saying Rob Conway, I was thinking Tim Conway. it's like I'm not talking about the guy from the Carol Burnett show, am I?
Yeah, you are. But I would have loved to have seen him as Batman. That would have been great.
I can't do a Tim Conway impression, so I can't even do that. No, but yeah, so that's going to be a great thing for her. And then on top of that, the what every fanboy is, I'll keep this PG. What every fanboy is really loving right now is Rosario Dawson is going to probably play Ahsoka in this version, or she definitely is going to play Ahsoka. I think
she is. She's definitely cast, and yeah, I mean, as far as characters that were created for the animated series, because we didn't know anything of Ahsoka until the Clone Wars animated series, where she becomes like the Padawan to future Darth Vader, Mr. Skywalker, Anakin there. It's weird that they're actually going ahead and doing that, but I can understand why they're choosing to incorporate that character, because as far as like everything from one trilogy to the next, Ahsoka's been pretty much like the linchpin between it. So whether it be her cameos in Rebels, whether it be any instances in Clone Wars and the movie Clone Wars, as well as the television series, in the comics, she's pretty much been like the main focus of everything in between. And the way they ended off the Clone Wars series with her in the last episode and everything, it leads a lot into, okay, what's she been up to lately? So to put her into something like Mandalorian, it makes sense, even if it does kind of like truncate the universe more so.
I didn't really get to watch I was never really big into the animated series that they've had, so I never really watched Rebels. I never really watched Clone Wars. I know of the characters. YouTube's been a great place to kind of see Ahsoka versus Darth Vader, which has been a great video. But,
yeah, a lot of timers.
But I did see like she became some sort of higher plane type person And it's like, I kind of like Ahsoka, but I don't want to see like high and mighty Ahsoka.
Ah, if you're going to be the one that was trained by Anakin Skywalker before he went to the dark side, it kind of makes a little sense that she'd be maybe a little bit more.
It makes sense,
You
but
guys
it's not
suck.
the character I think people want to see. That's sort of like I like the Undertaker, and then like, well, here's American Badass Undertaker. It's like I know I don't like that Undertaker, but you said you like the Undertaker. It's a different Undertaker. I think that's the case here too. It's we like
Don't be
Ahsoka,
hating
but
on Biker Taker.
we like the Clone Wars version of Ahsoka. We don't like whatever like higher power version of Ahsoka she's going to possibly be in this series. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm speculating here.
I think it's really going to come down to whether or not we actually see Rosario Dawson get into any fighting. Because I think if we see Ahsoka, fight with a lightsaber or two, that will pretty much be like, okay, this works. And mind you, Rosario Dawson has some history in being, superhero oriented, especially with her time in the Netflix Marvel universe. So she has the fighting chops at least to be able to handle the character. I just don't know how it's going to look with like all the headdresses and everything because, like, if you remember that race from
Mm-hmm.
like the movies, and you ever saw them interacting, they were either whores or they were Jedi's who didn't really do much flippy stuff.
Well,
But Ahsoka's definitely an active character, even when she's going to be older in this. In her younger years, she was, flippy dippy, doing kind of like, Yoda fighting sort of stuff.
well,
If they
maybe
can't do that, what's the point?
fan service. That's pretty much it. I think if she is in an episode, she'll probably only be in one episode. That's my current thought, and she'll probably be limited on movement. But again, that's like what I'm saying. It's like that's not really Ahsoka we really want to see anyway. But you know what? We know the characters we like. If they're all returning, then I'm happy. And then you get these little fan service here and there, and like, oh, good luck with that.
Well,
Uh,
I mean, nothing's going to be more fan service than what they're doing with Timothy Oliphant.
well, Uh, I'm gonna say we don't know what they're doing with the Timothy Oliphant. Right now, so the thing that's going around is they've seen him in picture. There's been pictures of him in Boba Fett's armor. So a lot of people are going, "Oh my God, he's gonna be Boba Fett. He's gonna be Boba Fett." Well, from an article that just recently came out from Sci-Fi Wire, and I think this is actually an opinion piece, so I'm just gonna leave it with that. But it does bring up an interesting thing to say he might actually play a character outside of Boba Fett. Apparently, in the Star Wars universe, there is another character known as Cobb Vanth. And this is a character from, I believe, the Aftermath trilogy by Chuck Waning. I've not read that, so but apparently
Neither have I.
it's apparently that there was this sheriff for this small town that like there was a power vacuum in, and to kind of take back control, Cobb went out and he bought the what was said to be the armor of Boba Fett and used it to kind of enforce things around there through like the name of Boba Fett. So that's a possibility. It could be this character as well.
Are we just relegated to the fact that Timothy Oliphant will never get away from being a cowboy or a sheriff?
I think so.
I mean, between Deadwood, Justified, and now this. Like, even when he was like Agent 47 in the Hitman movie, he's just a gunslinger. That's all he is.
He's going to do a cowboy or sheriff in every type of movie he can. So he played a sheriff in the old Wild West. He played a lawman in Modern Times. He played a lawman in a horror film. And now he's going to play a lawman in in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago in a sci-fi universe. He's just what's that? He's gonna be in a superhero film. What sheriff can he play from the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Because there's got to be one that he's just like, he'll be the new version of what was that really crappy DC movie that came out a few years ago? That
Jonah Hex.
Yeah, he'll be the next John Hex.
He even played a cowboy He pretty much played Clint Eastwood in Rango, the Spirit of the West.
Oh, that really crappy animation with Johnny Depp.
Yes,
Uh,
which actually won the Oscar for Best Animated Film.
did it?
Yes.
Eh. Well, not every year do they come out with a great animated film.
But I mean, how can he not play Boba Fett? I mean, if it's going to be the exact same armor, and we've seen how the Mandalorians are with their armor, and that's all been established in the first season, why would he be so flippantly giving away his armor?
He could be dead.
But then how do you get it out of the fucking pit?
I don't know. They said he got it from Jawas, so I don't know.
So what? It's the damn pit choked on Boba and just like uprooted itself from the ground?
And then it got picked up. I don't know. I'm not that big of a
No, I'm saying he's Boba. He's got to be Boba. Somehow he exploded himself out of the damn thing and survived.
Which, you know what, at the same time, like, to see Boba Fett in this would be kind of cool. But, you know, I kind of like this this thought to see this. I like what they're kind of doing where they're incorporating characters that are not into the bigger lore. They're taking stuff from the animated series, and now they're looking at some of the book series. This is really cool. I think this is the perfect fan service for the Star Wars fans, this series and what they're doing.
And for fans of all that, of every genre, I'd say, because they're really just trying to pile in as many different characters as they can at this point. I kind of like how they did the original season, where it was like every episode was like a different location, a different story, a different thing. It was like a serial in that sense, where it wasn't like an ongoing all the way through storyline where it all had to revolve around the child. It was just madcap different adventures. I really loved the one that had Bill Burr when they did the little the heist.
Oh man!
And apparently Bill Burr's coming back, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna love to see more from him.
I saw that. And if you're a fan of all these, by the way, I was watching Mandalorian. This is when Disney Plus came out. So at the same time I was watching Mandalorian, I was using Disney Plus to catch up on Gargoyles. And all I remember is one of the people that was teamed up with Bill Burr's character. He just started speaking and went, "Oh my God, that's a voice actor from Gargoyles." And it's like, that was amazing.
Clancy Brown.
Yes. So that to me was like, oh my God, they're just like sticking people you wouldn't really know in the background, like unless you really know that person.
Well, I mean, to Clancy Brown's credit, his voice aside, he's a big dude, so he's always got like that natural physique. If you want like an imposing character.
Yeah, and I knew there was someone else in that episode. Oh yeah, the guy who was kind of leading it all, the one who brokered the deal. I can't think of the actor's name, but he played a character in Batman Begins.
Yes, I recognize him more from Sons of Anarchy. But
I
yes,
never really
right.
watched Sons of Anarchy. I do, so yeah, so that's why I didn't recognize him for that. I like when you start you start noticing the background actors a lot.
Yeah, no, they've given a lot of fans time to shine. Like actors who are fans of the series, they're just like, "Come on in, let's do some stuff."
And that reminds me, and one last thing, they one person who has already been in the Star Wars franchise but wants to return through Mandalorian, Simon Pegg wants a role in the next season of Mandalorian. Though
I don't doubt that.
He hasn't landed one, but he's kind of petitioning for it right now.
Yeah, I could see they could go ahead and use him as like even just a voice actor if you don't necessarily want to put him like in a character's role, because from what I can tell, they've used comedians less so as like heavy characers, like really intimidating ones, and they've just used them to be goofy. Whether it be
call Simon Pegg a
comedian.
Simon Pegg is an actual actor, and he's been in as many serious roles as
he's an actual actor, but with more of a comedic tone.
Yeah, most of his movies have had a comedic tone, but he's done some impressive work in a more serious roles, and I would like to see him in Star Wars in another moment. That's my opinion, though. I think you do well. I don't want to cast anyone as a comedic actor here.
Well, I mean, he is one of those few people that's kind of like, been in both Star Trek and Star Wars. So yeah, to bring him back into
Doctor Who.
Star Wars would be kind of funny.
By the way, I always kind of feel bad because he was also in Doctor Who in the first season of the revival, which I think
the television network thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have forgotten about that first season to a degree. So it's like he had a great character, but it's almost completely forgotten. It's never been readdressed ever again.
Because I think they blew the whole damn thing up.
Yeah, but it's like, but think of all the other memorable characters since then, and it's like, yeah, well, he's not coming back.
Well, who knows? Maybe in 10 years, if the series is still going on, he'll be brought back as a doctor, and there'll be like the whole Peter Capaldi thing. It's like, well, he was already a character in the series. How can he be the doctor? And there's whole wibbly wobbly reasons.
I don't think he's. I don't know. I'm not going to get into Doctor Who. That's a whole nother. We can make an entire episode about that.
One day.
So, one day. Any other thoughts on the Mandalorian?
I also know Sasha Banks is going to be in it.
Oh yeah. We don't know who she's going to play though. We just know she's going to be there.
No, but I mean, if you're going to need somebody that's going to be an alien, go with the short girl who knows how to bend her body backwards in a way that she really shouldn't be able to do.
I have no comment on that.
No, I'm not being facetious or anything. I'm saying, like, if you actually look at some of her matches, the way she's been able to twist her body, like moving backwards or bending backwards, how she hasn't been on the injured list more so is concerning.
What do you mean? She's always on the injured list. She's always injuring herself. I just
other aspects
the other day. She's been putting matches she shouldn't be in. I remember that Hell in a Cell and Charlotte Flair tried to put her through a table, but the girl is so light that she fell on top of the table and didn't do any damage to the table. It's like
all the more reason to prove she is an alien, which makes her fit into the Star Wars canon.
We'll see. Yeah, I have nothing else to add to Mandalorian. Any final thoughts?
I mean, since this is pretty much Disney's big lob into the streaming network wars, I'm really hoping that it becomes one of those seasons that ends up surpassing the original and doesn't seem like an over-bloated exaggeration of where the series could go. Because as of right now, with Disney Plus being what it is, if it wasn't for the bank of stuff that they have in the Disney vault, Mandalorian is the driving force that's keeping that network going. If this next season doesn't necessarily pan out so well, they're going to be in a very tight spot.
In fairness, one, I don't believe that, but I think a lot of it is Disney's fault because when this entire streaming network was debuting, they actually had a lineup of a whole bunch of shows people wanted to see, and the only one they put out in that period of time has been The Mandalorian. I think, though, once you start seeing Winter Soldier and Falcon come out, once you see WandaVision come out, I think those are going to pick up and a lot more people are going to be getting subscriptions for those as well.
Provided they come out and, get that well reception since everything got pushed back. We were technically supposed to be getting, I think, Falcon and Winter Soldier by summertime. Mm-hmm. And I think WandaVision was supposed to be coming later in the year. Now everything's pushed back. And I think we're actually getting Mandalorian Season 2 later on this year. So we'll probably be getting that before Marvel properties that we should have gotten already.
I think the only benefit Mandalorian really has is because now the Star Wars series is kind of on hold to a certain degree. I did hear
it's done. All right, it's done.
They got a new movie coming out, and the director of it is one of my favorite directors. So I do have some hope there. But yeah, I mean, I don't think all of Disney Plus relies on Mandalorian, but as of right now, it is a hit, and it would be in their best interest to make sure it stays a hit. Hey guys, did you like what you saw in that video? Then please feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube, as well as hit that bell to get notified of future videos. And if you liked what you heard in this episode, you can actually listen to the full episode right now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Podbean. Until next time, guys, bye-bye.